We thank you so much for watching Voices of the Bar, where the legal world speaks. Today, we want to discuss contract, and we want to appreciate the principle of promissory estopel. This is a principle in law that was set to prevent people from going against their decisions for as long as one can prove that we relied on the promise which was made by an individual. So let's enter straight into what we call promissory estopel. Now, promissory estopel is a law principle that means that people are estopped from not fulfilling the promises they have made to others, even where there is no consideration, for as long as the other party can prove that they relied on the promise which was made to them. So the key element under promissory estopel is for the party to prove, the one who is claiming that the other person is not supposed to change their promise, must prove, the plaintiff must prove that there was reliance, that when a promise was made, this person relied on that promise and incurred or suffered other losses. So that is what we mean by promissory estopel. I'll give an example. I've given this many times. If a student X comes to me and tells me they want to do a course called law, and they want me to help them with tuition, then I tell them that yes, I will give you the tuition you request. So this student goes ahead and go to any university, gets admission. They go and pay for an hostel around that university. They go and pay the woman who cooks food for their lunch. They go and make like 5 suits to use during studies at the law school. They buy numerous scholastic material that will be used when they commence their studies. And now, immediately after, I tell them, now after they come to me, wanting me to fulfill the promise I had made, then I tell them that I am not going to be able to fulfill the promise I made to them. The issue is, what happens to them? Now, law, this principle has been brought to help such people. Now, they must prove to court that the promise I told them, they relied on it. You show proof to court that when he told me he's going to pay for me tuition, I relied on his promise and I incurred such losses. You now begin to explain. I went to this university, I paid the 50,000 for admission, I paid the 200 for my lunch, I paid the hostel, I bought suits, I bought this. But now the guy is saying that he's not going to give me the money. So court will enforce through the principle of promissory estopel that you, the person who promised, you are estopped from not fulfilling your decision. Let's take an example of a case, Central London Property Trust versus High Tree Houses. This is an English case which actually said, Lord Denning in this case clearly established the principle of promissory estopel. Now, the Central London Property Trust, they rented out houses to High Tree, flats. But that time were from a war. The houses were for £2,500. But they made a half of it, told them, you pay a half. Because we are in the period where they are vacant, we are from the war. After this period, we shall revert to the original price. Now, High Tree started paying a half of the money which was requested. Now, after the war, the flats were now full. And the High Trees Central London Properties, they had wanted them to recover the price during the time when the room were vacant. And court put it clear that the Central London Property, they were stopped from going against their decision, their promise. They had made a promise. So there is no way they would now turn again issues. Lord Denning even put it clear, even when there is no consideration, for as long as there is a promise that someone has relied on, you cannot come and say you are removing this promise. This promise continues when you reach second year. Those who are watching from first year, you start the family law, and there is a topic called promise to marry. This very principle, it has been applied under promise to marry in family law. You are stopped if you promise someone you're going to marry them, and now those people, they rely on their promise, therefore go so many things, and now you come and say you want to marry them. Court will enforce such. So the doctrine of promissory estopple comes into play. Those who do land law in the future, you come against what we call proprietary estopple under property land law. So this doctrine is very important when it comes to promise. Now, you people who have been promised to, you just have to prove that the promise which was given to you, you actually relied on this promise. There are many cases. Look at the case of Thomas versus Thomas. Very important case. Google out that case, Thomas versus Thomas. There are some cases in intention secret legal bounds about promises. The medit, balfa, petit. Look at those cases. They clearly bring out the aspect of the promissory estopple. So, when you are faced with the questions in contract law, your role is very simple. Read the questions as you interpret. Look out. Are they asking for a promissory estopple? Was there something promised? Is there someone who relied on this promise which was made? If you feel there is someone who relied on that promise which was made, then you come out and say there is an element of promissory estopple, and then you explain why you feel there is that element of promissory estopple. But read out the case of Thomas versus Thomas, the case of Central London Properties, Trust versus High Tree Houses. Those are locus cascas when it comes to promissory estopple. So until next time, we thank you so much for watching Voices of the Bar, where the legal world speaks. Subscribe, share, like our videos. Until next time, thank you. Cheers.